Everyone, and welcome to Viva Cafe con Leche. I am the badass Buddha, Lori Monaco. It is a little bit dreary out today, but it's supposed to be nice. The temperature has been beautiful down here in the south, and I heard it wasn't too terrible up north either, but it's already springing over here. How about that? And if anybody didn't realize, we have the time change coming this weekend. So, oh my goodness, we're really going to feel the spring. So good morning, everyone, and welcome.
Good morning. Good morning. That's what I said. It rained all day yesterday and worse as the day was coming to a close. Milagritos. And that's all I thought about. It's like, to me, they're like spring showers. They're reviving what lay dormant. Right. So it's exciting. And I love the rain anyway. I just hate getting in and out of a car on a rainy day. Either I'm going to walk it or I'm going to watch it. But to get in and out of a car, that's like... Good morning, mi gente, aquí con la Margarita y Gladiator Guru. Welcome.
Good morning, Kathy and Gail on Facebook and Milagros on YouTube. Milagros, we got Milagros early today. I know she's been coming on a little bit later, and we love when she's on right away. So good morning, everyone. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Make sure that we're out there and getting views and all that lovely stuff just because we want to, not for any other reason.
Do it.
And yes. To Gail, at the Empowering Process podcast on YouTube, thank you. Gail always jumps on for both, and Kathy often does as well. And Milagros does sometimes as well. So we thank you for that. We really appreciate it. So how are you, Gladiator Guru? How's everything going?
Good. Yesterday it was after we had left New Britain. We're driving in the rain. We're tired. And I said, let's stop at a thrift store because that's what just gives me energy. And plus I'm going to see furniture that I can repaint or do something for my art studio. But I'm like, today I'm going to find that alchemist. I'm going to find, and I looked through all the bookshelves and I found it.
Did you? Oh, it's in Spanish.
Just in Spanish.
Wow.
Look at how much.
Did you have you ever had it in Spanish before?
I got it. No, but I'm going to read it. I love the cover. It's just so, I went there. I'm thinking of, I was in a place yesterday, and to drown out the people, I'm thinking of a mural I want to paint in my art room on canvas, though, not on the wall. And then I find this, which is just all the elements combined into one. And I don't think I ever seen his book cover like this. So yeah, I was happy.
Well, it is funny that sometimes when something is produced in another country, that they change the cover. Although I did notice, though, that sometimes something on Amazon will sometimes have fake covers. I caught that a couple, especially with that book. I was looking up that book, and I had caught a couple of fake ones. They were fake books it was his stuff, but it was a different cover. And I looked it up, and I looked up to see like the history of his covers, and they weren't part of the history of his covers. So they could be sneaky like that. But that one looks like, what is the copyright date on that one?
Well, yeah, look at me when I Googled my book, So Searching for Peace. And I found out they're selling it in Africa. And I find out that Walmart is selling it on their online. And I call Amazon, they're like, oh, too bad. So yeah, so imagine all the copycatters. This one.
Good morning, Georgianne. Georgianne on Facebook, so we appreciate
This is
that.
primera edición de HarperCollins, publicada en 1994. So yeah, this is HarperCollins, published in 1994.
And that's his book.
First edition de HarperCollins. That's what it said. Hold on. Era alquimista. The copyright is 1988. The translation copyright is in 1990. But then it says this one, so I don't know.
And Georgianne, it's okay if you're not like this book is actually a very easy read. We read it last month for February, and then we went over it on the 29th. It's a very easy read. It's a wonderful story, and it's highly recommended, because sometimes some of these stories that are very deep and they have all these deep meanings, they're a little hard to read, but this is not one of them. So The Alchemist is the one that you want to pick up. So see if they have it, in one of the used bookstores, or just buy it new, whatever you want to do. I have mine. My daughter has it back because she still hasn't finished reading it.
My original one that I've kept, I bought online, but because I wasn't gonna buy another one, and I couldn't find them in the thrift stores because I own 4 copies of them in Tampa. So I kept looking and looking, and today I was like, I'm gonna find this book, because this is a book we can converse about anytime, any month, on any topic of the show. Because let me tell you, for those who loved him, read Aleph. Aleph is also very spiritual, and in the Pilgrim, he teaches you the breathing work and how to, he gives these practices on what to do, lay down, clear your mind, like so that your spirit can transport, or that so you can elevate your spirit and be awake while your body sleeps, so that you can learn, listen. It's really kind of scary but amazing as well. So the Pilgrim, his first book, speaks about that, and then Aleph is very scientific, spiritual. I don't know. I don't know how to put that together, but I think he's awesome. The last book of his I read was Hippie, so I don't know what. I think Archer I wanted to read, but he's awesome. Like Mark Anthony says, check it out. I miss Mark Anthony. Anyway, yeah, so it's raining over here, but it's a beautiful day, mi gente. Yeah, Gail, so is my book. Have you listened to my book on audio? Because I'm speaking it, so you go through all the phases of emotions with me. And I haven't even promoted that, but that's okay. We're coming.
We're coming up. All right, so let's set our intention. Let's do our mantra, and let's start our conversation. Our conversation today is breathing in the to be. I can't read apparently. Breathing in the to be. Okay, so intention. Be intentional today. Set your intention, whatever it may be. Set it now, set it after the show, set it multiple times during the day. You decide how your day is going to go. And when you meet that intention, then set a new one.
And do it with gratitude. Not jealousy, not inhibitions, not anything, not intimidation. Sometimes you got to be reminded what's opposite of gratitude. Do it because you know you want to, and because you want to, you can, and you can because it is within you.
Yep. There you go. Good morning. Chenille is in the house, and Tony. Good morning to everyone. Okay, here we go. Let's do the mantra together. Let's say it loud and say it proud. Let's wake up those lungs. Let's wake up that brain. Let's get that blood circulating. And here we go. I am a disruptor.
I am a disruptor.
I am unapologetically courageous.
I am unapologetically courageous.
I am spiritually grounded.
I am spiritually grounded.
I am magically orgasmic.
Ole.
And I keep it real.
All day, no doubt.
Right. Woo! Desiree's in the house. Good morning, Desiree. We're happy you're here on Facebook. So, all right, let's get talking. So Tuesday, we were talking about breathing out the now. We were talking about being present, taking that breath, and just acknowledging where we are at this moment in time. It doesn't have to be, we don't have to judge it. You don't have to decide whether it's good or bad. It's just where we are. And then today we're breathing in the to be. What is possible? We talk about mindfulness, talks about how you have to be in the present. You have to be in the present. And the reality is that's wonderful. And we do need to be reminded of that, because we actually we are less in the present with goodness than we are, like we're always in the past or always in the future. And if we are in the present and the goodness, it's usually we're present when something bad is happening. Like we're just pissed off and we're in that moment. So being in the present is wonderful. It is a gift, right? But we're human, and we live a life and we have things to do. So future, planning for the future, thinking about the future is a necessity. The key is we don't want to stay stuck in the past. We don't want to live in the future. We want to live in the present. We want to acknowledge the past and learn from it. And then we want to plan for the future, but the planning will be in the now. So the interesting thing is that when we breathe in the to be, what is to be, and we breathe out the now, we're basically saying, this is what I am becoming. And then I'm breathing out what I am right now. And if I am to become, if I am to have, if I am to do, then what I am doing right now has to coincide with that, meaning that in order to get the to be, the to do, I have to do something today. So I love it now because we could put both of them together. We could breathe in the to be, and we can breathe out the now and say, this is who I want to be. This is where I want to go. This is what I want to do. Breathe it in, feel it. And then when you breathe out the now, where am I right at this moment in time? What do I need to do now to create that future for myself? Good morning, Editha.
You have to have an idea too. Breathing in, it's like, I don't know where I got mine somewhere along the in betweens of caregiving and then losing myself and working very hard to reestablish the who am I kind of deal back in 2017. And so that's exactly breathing out. What we talked about Tuesday is and then breathing in. You have to not only acknowledge yourself, you have to dress up for yourself. When you're gonna go meet someone, like yesterday, I didn't dress up, and I looked around. Everybody was coiffed up, and I was like, wow. That's normally what I would do, but I felt so comfortable in my no makeup face and everything. And when you're breathing in your now, accept yourself and you can have anything you want in this life, but it has to start with self-acceptance. It's like we constantly talk about the cultivation of self. Sometimes we're so hard on ourselves that we block our own everything, and just breathe it in. You know what, let me just give you a little tip on what's the more important part of you breathing in your now. But it's you're breathing. It's that simple as that. Breathe it in. Breathe. Just with that alone should just be like, oh my God, I'm alive. I
Damn it.
am able to do anything. Like with latter dementia patients and Alzheimer's, there's stickies that are all over the place that just say breathe on it, reminding them to breathe because they forget.
Well,
So
you don't have to have dementia to forget, though. People do it all the time without dementia.
So yeah, like when they're like all upset. So these two shows are very important, and as all of them are. But let me tell you, when we were talking about this one, it made me lightheaded. When you breathe too fast, because it's so important, and to break it down the way like what the badass Buddha just said, and all that. Take notes on your life. Like when we went to the thrift store, I make notebooks and I sell them. And inside, I have no lines. I don't believe in being ruled and controlled and told how to do something because that's how it should be. But there's people who like lines. So I found this jazzy notebook, like with the 70s lady. I don't know. To me, that's what it looked like with the afro. And I don't know what it said on top. I would say it. And I I got it, and in the car, I gave it to Iris. I said, "Here, write your chapter." Ta-ta-ra-tam. You got another client coming. Write your chapter. That's it. That book is only for her to, whatever she's thinking at the moment, whatever one-liner she wants to put in the first couple pages, because then it'll stream into a story. But it had lines, and I knew she would like it. And those are the things that when people accept, why is it so hard for that accept to for ourselves to accept that about ourselves? So breathe
Right.
that in. You deserve that unlined or lined. Sorry, my granddaughter's not having a good morning today.
Okay. It's all right.
And so,
Didn't have her cafe con leche yet.
yeah, she didn't. She's like, I ain't trying to go to school today. That's what she's doing. She's very demanding. I wonder who she came out like. Like yesterday after her doctor's appointment, she didn't want to go to school. So her mom's like, no, you have to go to school. So then they get to the school. She's like, you drove very fast. Because in her mind, they got there too quick from her doctor. So it's like, yeah,
She's
so
too much, man.
it's funny because she's like a mini me, but I see a lot of my mom in her. Like when she
Oh,
gets angry, she puts her hand on her hip and she starts with the finger. Like it's just so adorable to see so many generational women in such a little package. But yeah, go ahead.
oh, I don't, you were talking. I don't
No,
know.
no, because I was just saying, backing up what you said, because please, mi gente. But I know you had something else to say with that.
Well, I mean, the thing is this, is that again, this really comes down to the fact that this is the becoming month. This is what March is the becoming month. What are you deciding to become this month? What have you not become all this time that you've just let go by the wayside and just kind of strutted along? Well, I'd like to do this and I'd like to do that. And you see people doing things, if you wanted to lose weight, but you kind of kept pushing yourself, then you're seeing other people lose weight. You're getting frustrated because you're looking at them kind of jealous, going, oh, well, look at them. I mean, they look really good and I want to be happy for them, but I'm not pushing myself. Is it money? Like I want to be making more money, but I'm not making that in my job. You don't have to quit your job. It's like, especially nowadays, you never know with everything that's going on, but you could get a side hustle, and maybe that side hustle becomes something that you love doing. And then maybe that side hustle becomes a lot of money. And then all of a
Mm-hmm.
sudden you can quit your job. So it's not like you don't have to follow the masses where they say, like, do this, take this big leap and be bold. And if you're not completely in it, then you're not gonna be successful. If your heart is where it is, you're going to want to do it. So you will be in it and you will designate just the right amount of hours to do it. It's just like anything in life. It's your family. It's this. If you want to be successful in all those things and you want to be happy, that's the thing. Success is sort of a bland word, but when you want to live an abundant life, when you want to feel joyful every single day, when you want to be happy to go into work, when you want to be happy to come home from work, when you want to be happy to be in your space with your family members or with your
Mm-hmm.
pets or whatever it is, wherever you are or whatever as long as you are happy where you are, then you are riding that wave, you are walking that path, and that's good. You're opening yourself up to become who you were meant to be. So the question is, and we have to always check in, we can't just say 6 months ago, well, I decided I'm going to become this and I wrote it down and I did everything that you all said to do, like all you ladies said to do. I wrote it down and blah, blah, blah. And I've been working on it. So I'm becoming. Okay, but you still have to check in, because we've always talked about how you could get sidelined. Somebody, needs you and somebody tries to get in your way and you can get distracted or you sit for a second. Sometimes it's a good thing. Sometimes it's a bad thing. Sometimes it's a necessary part. And sometimes it's not a necessary part, but we think it is. So that's why you have to breathe in, constantly breathe in and remind yourself of who I am to be. What am I becoming? And then breathing out the now. Who am I right now? And if every day is a little wake up call for yourself because I'm not there, then that's what it has to be. Because until you decide no more, or as Gladiator Guru says, no mas, that
Yes.
will stay the same. you will not switch. So you will become what you are now, which is not what you truly want to be, right? The today is where it starts, the present time. You know, if you say, I want to lose weight, it's just always easier to say that because we could see it in our mind. You know, if I want to lose weight and I want to eat better and I want to be healthier, I have to start today. I can't give myself the excuse to eat really bad today and a lot and then say, well, I'll start tomorrow. Who you
Right
are
now,
today
right now.
is your becoming. So it because what happens is the way the brain works is your subconscious brain is trained. The only way to change and become who you're meant to be, you have to change the 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 dynamic of your subconscious. You have to change the story. You have to change the play, the replay. So every day you change today, and then it will affect your tomorrow. It might be a little at a time, but it's still something. Okay. But what's interesting is when you hold out for even the baby steps or the little leaps, all of a sudden you'll open up to a very big leap and you won't be afraid to take it. See, right now it's like sometimes you're looking at that going, that's too far. I can't leap that far. Then don't. You know, my daughter and I were walking in the back of the property. I've been very, very busy with my business and promoting myself. And she was off on Tuesday and she said to me, Mom, and it was a really nice day out. And she's like, Mom, can we go like to the back of the property? We had gone for a drive. And then we kind of drove around a little bit. We drove to the street behind our property. And we saw some things that we had noticed before, but it's not even in our yard, it's in the neighbor's yard. So she's like, Mom, could we go check out the creek and walk down to that spot? And I'm like, sure. And then in my head I'm going, but I kept saying but to her, but I don't know if we're gonna have enough time. I have a call at this time and blah blah blah. And I said, screw it. You know what? I'm gonna go. And I just said, listen, I don't have a lot of time, but I could start my call. It was a Zoom call. I'm like, I could start it while I'm walking back up, you know? And the river, or the creek, it meanders just like any creek does. You know, it does one of these things, you know, and then there's areas that are wider and then there's areas that are narrower. And I thought about it as I was looking because we had to hop to another side and because there was another creek that crosses over. And I said, well, I could either jump this one or I could find a spot that's a little narrower and walk it and kind of hop. And I opted to take a jump. You know, I said, the heck with it. And I said to myself, if I get a little wet, it's no big deal. Who the hell cares? But there were bigger areas where I looked at and said, there's no way I'm going to make that. And I'm not even going to try, you know, and I didn't want to walk a little further to where it was a little narrower. And it's just play that scenario in your head. Just see that river crossing, that creek crossing, where sometimes it's wider and sometimes it's narrower. And sometimes you can just hop over to one side. Sometimes you have to take a big leap. Sometimes you have to cross over a fallen tree. And other times you're like, screw it, I'm going to have fun and I'm going to leap. And if I land in the water, I land in the water and I'm going to make the best of it. I'm going to have a good time.
I think the best part is when you walk right through it and you feel the cold, clean, crisp water with an agenda come right to you, because a river flows towards something. It never stops for a rock, for a branch, for whatever is in its way. It keeps going. That's why I love to sit at the river and the creeks, because when we're in Spain and we're up climbing up the mountains or in the forest, there's waterfalls, but there's constantly a creek, whether it's falling off the rocks that we drink right from, or you see it like walk through it. I think we stepped through two of them when we were walking because we had to climb up a rock or we just try to get through it. But that's beautiful. And for you to have that in your back is wonderful. Let me tell you.
I'm very grateful.
If there's anything more beautiful, it's the sound of water going somewhere. Because if that doesn't make you believe in yourself if you were pondering, I don't know if I should do this, because if I do this, it's going to take me this long. And then if I drive over there and I don't want to run into somebody. And then we put so much bullshit in our lives, and then we want to blame God, the devil, your mother, and it's you. Just sit and listen to sounds. Why you think the birds they situate themselves to sing above you or across from you to make you to so you can look up and look for them, make you lose that focus you have, that hold you have on that negativity. I mean, life is always trying to present you with something, and what do? You kick it in the ass and complain. Good morning.
Yes. There she is.
Say good morning.
Yay!
Buenos dias.
You're happier now. We love when you're.
She's,
What'd she say? What did she say? She got
my
cut off.
daughter-in-law's going to the doctors to check, and so she said, "Mommy's gonna have a baby today."
Oh.
Yeah, so it's like those rivers are there to remind you. Paulo Coelho, one of my other favorites. I just love him. I own all his books, but he has one. I sat by the river Piedra and cried, or I sat and cried by the river Piedra. I always get the wording messed up, but he talks about the river and the creek. And it's just
It's so symbolic. It really is so symbolic.
And we don't take the time out to even listen to the rain. People curse the rain. I love the rain.
And I'm very lucky because, the creek is very far back. I mean, we have 5 acres here, so it's at the back of the property. When we were walking, I discovered that there was actually a little waterfall back there. It's not on our property. It's on the next door neighbor's property, but she doesn't care that we're walking there. But we're lucky because we have metal roofs. We have a metal roof on the house, and you can sit anywhere in the house when it's raining. And if you leave the windows open, you can hear the pitter patter because we have like a front porch that has the metal roof, and then we have a side porch that has the metal roof, and then we have the main roof has the metal roof. But you can leave the windows and you hear it. And if you've never heard the pitter patter of rain on a tin roof, it's really magical. It really is. And we've been it's spring here already. I mean, we already have daffodils up and the birds are chirping away, and it's been just phenomenal. In fact, I actually have to cut the grass. The grass is so long right now that I'm looking at it going, when am I going to get a day where it's dry enough to where I can cut this? Because that's how ripe this area is for spring already. But you don't you don't notice it unless you're paying attention. How many times have we done that? How many times have we didn't even notice things changing on the tree? All of a sudden you look up and you're like, oh my gosh, there's leaves. Like a minute ago it was bare trees. But that's because we're not being in our moment.
Well, it's like there's a quote, I don't remember who says it exactly. It's back like Socrates and all that, because I love all those quotes. But the quote reads that you become what you give your attention to. So if you're only focused on what you're not receiving, what you haven't received, who's not doing what for you, but you're sitting on your ass doing all these perceptions outside of you, and you're not listening. I mean, people like, I've never been to a concert. Sit outside. You got the bees buzzing, even the annoying flies come. You got the birds. You have the branches dancing in the wind, so the leaves are fluttering. I mean, there's always an outside symphony or orchestra. You don't have to go to Central Park to hear a free concert. Sit in your yard.
That's right.
Because it's all been placed there for you to enjoy, to make you feel light on your feet, to have you take a deep breath and appreciate the life you have, so that then you can lunge forward. Lunge. I'm not talking take little steps at this time. Lunge forward into the purpose that you were here, your destiny. Something that you're going to wake up to every day and smile, because you're not feeling pressure that you have to do this for this person. You have to do it for that person, because that can get you really down. And let me tell you, the most positive person, the most person that'll get up and do what I have to do. There are moments when you're placed in a position where someone else's thing is like, it's weighing down on you. And it's not that what's happening outside of you, it's I don't know how to receive it and categorize it. So because it feels like there's a hole in my umbrella that I don't own, because I love the rain unconditionally, so I don't own umbrellas, but it feels like that. but it's nothing anybody outside of me is doing or giving or saying. It's my perception of the moment I am in. So when you learn how to breathe in and then breathe out and then breathe in again, then you are coming back to you. And that's the only person who makes the right or wrong decisions. No one forces you to do this and do that and speak about this and speak about that. It always, always is in your hands. You
Can
just
you
have to
talk?
like take a step back from yourself and say, why am I feeling suffocated? Why am I feeling like I got that ball and chain on my leg again? This is not where I wanted to be, but is it there? Or am I creating it because
Well,
I had to make changes?
and
And
you
I'm
said,
speaking from experience of what's happening. It has nothing to do. I am in love with the people around me. I'm in love with my life right now. And it's just it was just what our biggest mistakes we make is we tunnel vision what we want to do from January from December to the beginning of March. Where did I say I was going to be? Walking the mountains of Spain. Early January, something happened, cut that short. It's still everything's been happening like this. It has still taken me some time to readjust and look at my compass again and start the next planning phase because nothing is stopping me from doing that. There was just, and I look at it as blessings. Okay, I was paused, I was put on pause, but it doesn't mean that I can't breathe in and breathe out. It just means I got to get out of my own way of how I thought things were going to be. And even though death fucks up everybody's agenda, it does. So that part's over. It's me. It's the adjusting because I can be stubborn, but I'm vulnerable at the same time because I'm loving where I'm at with my son and his family. I'm loving that. That is perfect. It's just the fact that, what the fuck am I here again? Like I had all these plans and then I centered. And then I committed for 1 year and I rented an art studio. So my ass ain't going nowhere. And I feel really good about that. And I think I needed to anchor somewhere that's temporarily long, if that makes any sense to you.
yes,
I still rented. I committed for a year with something, but within that year, I still have the freedom to travel.
yes.
So, yeah. So what I'm saying, you got to breathe in. You got to know. You got to start learning. You got to start celebrating. You got to start appreciating. You got to start loving who you are, where you're at, broken, not working, not married, not no matter where you're at. Start loving yourself. Start walking on a 5 acre land, like the badass Buddha said. Go discover a creek and how it goes all over the place and listen to the sound so that then you can share that and remind people that life isn't as hard as you fucking make it out to be.
You said something very key. You said right in the beginning of all that, you said perception. And perception, that is so specific to us. Like how I perceive something is very different than Gladiator Guru. We could be looking at the same damn thing and we perceive it completely different. And that's the good and the bad. That's the good and the bad, because if we perceive it to be a problem, if we perceive it to not work out for us, if you have that thought process, then everything will align with that. It always does. But if you get out there and you say, nope, nope, I want this to be great, I want to be happy. So I've been doing a lot of networking lately, right? And it's a necessity for my business, especially because I'm in a new place. Nobody knows me down here. And I haven't done in-person networking in like 4 years, something like that. And I've been doing online networking, and then I actually got so burnt out with it, I couldn't stand it anymore. I didn't like it, and then I stopped. And so when you don't have anything, when nobody knows you, how the heck are you supposed to get business? So I pushed myself to do the in-person networking, and I'm completely addicted to it. I have found some really phenomenal groups to meet. I'm meeting new people all the time. The people, and then I do see the same people too, and that's an important piece. But the beauty is that I went in there being me, representing me. I went in there with my boho self, happy, smiling, energetic, in this one networking group, at the end of the group, they actually say, does anybody want to share any gratitude? Which is just, I mean, who does that in a group? And I always make sure that I add like I say, what I'm grateful for. And the thing that comes up all the time is I'm so grateful for being here. I'm so grateful for being down here. I'm grateful for being in this area. I'm grateful for the people that I meet. I'm grateful that I get to see the mountains on a daily basis, and I look out and they're just breathtaking. And that energy, I'm just being me. Like, I'm so happy. When you're so happy to be somewhere, when you're so happy to be doing something, it shows. You don't realize how much it shows so I've been doing this for 1 month now. And at the very first meeting that I did a month ago, I was there yesterday, and there was one guy that I've seen at multiple meetings, and he stood up and he was giving his because you give your little speech about your business. And instead of talking really about his business, he actually started pointing out people in the group. And he pointed to me, and he and I haven't really spoken that much. And he says, I just want to say how thankful I am. This wasn't even the gratitude section. I'm loving your energy. I love the energy that you brought to this group. I love how happy you are to be here. And it just makes me more like excited about what I do and being here. And I wasn't expecting that. Like, I'm not saying it to toot my own horn. I'm saying that I was so taken back, but I was, for the first time, was so in alignment with being myself, showing up as who I am and who I want to be. No bullshit. It's just like, it's not fake. This is it. This is who I want to be. I want to be that good person. I want to be that person that puts out that beautiful energy. Not saying I can't be a jerk. It's not saying that I don't have bad days. I'm just saying this is how I want to live my life. And guess what? They're seeing it and feeling it. And what does that mean as far as me for business? For business, it means that they're going to be like, well, I met this really cool lady and she has this business, and I'm going to, send business your way. What does that mean as a person? They're going to get to know me as a person. They'll invite me to things that they do on a like a party. One lady invited me to her church, and that's beautiful. But we have to get past how we, like, we may see ourselves one way and we are not that way. And that's what I was conflicting. I was conflicting myself, like, when I was living up north. I was wanting to be this way, but I was not putting that out there. So my energy was awful up when I was living up north, because I was just so angry and unhappy. But I started to see it, but I didn't want to believe it. It's perception. And it took other people to mention things or things that happened to make me realize, okay, that's not who I want to be. So what do I need to do to become this person? And one of them was to move. I had to move. I had to limit conversations with certain people. And as a result, I have, especially the last 2 months, have been a massive growth for me. Mm-hmm. And so, and having somebody like Gladiator Guru, who's a friend, who will call me out on stuff. She'll tell me like it is, and I will tell her like it is. We need that. We don't, because she knows where I'm coming from, and I know where she's coming from. It's coming from the heart. It's not coming to knock her down, to try to make her feel bad, because I'm coming from a lack mindset and I'm not doing well, so I want to tell her how bad she is. It's coming from, hey, you know what? This is what I observed. She may not agree with it, but she at least knows where it's coming from, and vice versa. And it's that discernment. You take that step back, that mindful judgment, you take pause, and you say, okay, I'm going to listen. I value her opinion. When she says something to me, I take that step back. Sometimes I don't even have to take the step back. I'm like, yep, you're right. But take that step back and say, yeah, you know what? I appreciate what she said, because I value her opinion. She's honest with me. I have other people that I know that are not really in my life that much, that aren't that way. And I don't really take what they say for much, even when it's a compliment, because they're just so happy to compliment and people pleasing that it's not even accurate. So it's about constantly checking in with yourself, breathing in the to be and breathing out the now. Who am I today? Ask yourselves that right now. Who am I right now? What am I right now? What am I doing here? What am I learning? What am I going to do today with what I am right now?
Yes. And be honest. Because today is
Say
the
it in
first day of the
Spanish.
rest of your life. Can you
Say
hear
it in
me?
Spanish. Say it in Spanish. Never lie to yourself.
Nunca te engañe. Nunca te engañe. Because, every day you get the opportunity to start fresh and and have that epiphany. Like, oh my God, what have I been waiting on? Like Doji, what am I waiting on? Where's my sneakers? And even if you walk around your parking lot, you were successful because you got up, you put your sneakers on intentionally, you walked
Yep.
out your front door, and you just did a 10-minute walk around your parking lot. See, whenever we say we want to get up and walk, let me use that analogy now since I read your post. When we do that, we're thinking, I'm going to walk for an hour. I'm going to walk 30 minutes one way and 30 minutes back. And then what happens? The thought of that length of time, when you haven't walked in so long, it starts beating you up slowly. You don't even realize it. It's taking. And then lo que pasa es you don't put your sneakers on. And you can't go walking without that first step. So every day that you are given the gift of life and you wake up and you intentionally say, I want to be better today. I want to be different today. Then be grateful that that thought came forming through early and then remind yourself today is the first day of the rest of my life because that's all we have is today. All we have is right now. And then put your sneakers on and walk down your little steps and walk around that parking lot as much times as you want to. Do it once, do it 5 times. It's on you. And then go back in. You can check off that you were successful today because you put your sneakers on and you did walk. Nowhere does it specify you have to walk, blah, blah, blah. We put that in our own minds and it's a self-sabotaging technique. So breathe and just do. Take those baby steps. Before you take the lunge, you have to take those baby steps. When I first did my first Camino in 2017, I had been in the house for 6 years, 5 years, only leaving to run to the grocery store, literally, and run back because Eric was left alone. Um, and once every 3 months to take him to the doctor's office. That's when I dressed up. Other than that, I looked like a fucking vagabond, right? Una zarapastrosa. So I went on the Camino and I watched videos and you got to prepare. You got to start buy your sneakers, put them on, get a backpack, walk through your city, walk through your parks, get a hang of it. I didn't do none of that. Did I regret it? Hell yeah. I felt like I had cinder blocks on my thighs. But it wasn't. It did. I was like, well, I mean, my personalities were at war with each other. And because Juanita was like, we should have just went to Greece because it did pop in my head and we could have been laying in the beach somewhere. And then I just, pushed through the pain. So what happens is that I did it. And I met people along the way that were leaving before the end of it. I did it because I had to. Everybody's different. But what I'm saying is just when you get up in the morning, I wake up and put your sneakers on. If that's what you want to do and start walking. Yesterday, we're doing everything we're doing. I'm looking around at people and I said, I really got to get my sneakers. I said, why the fuck haven't I bought sneakers? Why haven't I bought sneakers? And Iris said, because you haven't wanted to, because you could have been went and bought sneakers. Boom, boom, shh. Iris gave me that advice. And it was like, I had nothing to say because she was 100% right. So it's like we self-sabotage, we limit ourselves, and then we get upset when other people are not doing what we're assuming they should do or how they should know us and what they should do for us because they know us and then they should know us enough to know that we're going to slack. So they should pick up or at least encourage us. It's a whole bunch of bullshit. Stop self-sabotaging because to fall in love with yourself is the first step to the secret of happiness. With the chichos, with the fupa, with the wings coming out. It's you. It's only one of you. Work like the badass Buddha says. If you want to do it, be present. Watch what you eat. Don't overdo it today and then say, "Oh, I'll start tomorrow," because then tomorrow becomes today, and so on and
Yes.
so forth.
Right.
So we have to. Yes, we have to. Let me tell you, there's never going to be another quote that speaks such reality than the gladiator gurus: breathe in the beauty and breathe out the bullshit. But yes, Tuesdays in today's show was born from around that.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
it's beautiful. And say it again, badass, what Tuesdays is and what today's is, because I think I need to hear it as well. Hey Sonia.
Breathing in the 2B, breathing in the 2B, and breathing out the now. Breathing in the 2B and breathing out the now.
If any of you ever go on Moments con Margarita, I started that YouTube channel on January 1st, 2017. Eric was in the hospital with pneumonia. No, he went in like a week later. But that's when I started that the YouTube channel, Moments con Margarita. And it was just like a daily diary, right? I don't know. I don't go back and rewatch them. But one of them, the first one talks about how I had put it off for 6 months because I kept saying, I got to lose weight. I can't do a video with all this weight gain, and blah, blah, blah. And on that first video, I said, I said just that. And I said, and then I decided, like, this is me and it'll come off eventually. And it all did. But I always spoke in those early videos, even when I was videotaping Eric and I in the hospital. One of my major attention quotes to get people's attention was own your now and live in your moment. Own your now. That's all we have, and live in your moments. I made mugs, I sold them. Eric was still alive, and I just, whatever. And to this day, I'll still talk to people and they're like, that's right, because you got to live your now. You got to own your now. Own it, own it. And if we don't own our now, how are we going to grab a hold and be the leader of our tomorrow? We can't.
And I think that's the problem. I think people just owning your now means being accountable for your now. That's what it means to own. It means you got to take it all. Even if it's the stuff that you don't like, it's like, this is me now. This is me now. This is everything today is a result of yesterday and the day before that and the day before that. So that's why the now is so important. If you're deciding I want this for the to be, for the future, it has to start today. So like with the movement, walking is great. And yes, go get the sneakers and just start walking. And Yuditsa said walking up the steps in your own house is good. But you know what? Even if that's hard, get out of bed and just jiggle, swing your arms around.
Do the merengue.
Down,
Shake I do it all the time.
See if you can squat a little bit, lift your legs up. If you have to hold on to the wall, then do it. It gets your body moving. It gets your blood circulating. And then this is what happens is once you start moving, your body actually says, I want to keep doing this. I don't like sitting. In fact, I'm like, really, my body's telling me right now, it wants me to stand up right now. And then you're going to want to walk. So just do it today. Do something different than you've been doing, because what you've been doing is the same thing and it's going to equate to the same thing tomorrow.
Listen, so true. Before I get out of bed in the morning, I'm laying in my bed, mind you, but I do the opening of the thighs. Then later on it hurts my edges. Opening of the thighs. Yeah, I know. I got it. And then I stretch my legs out. And I do the rotating of the ankles 20 times one way, 20 times the other to get all the ear pockets out. And then I lift my legs and I'm laying down, but it's like I'm riding a bike. So I'm doing 30 of these. And then I go back to doing this again. And then I stretch like a little baby. Then I wake up and I do this. Because in Thai something, you do this when you're tired, cup it. And you hit this part, like when you're tired, it wakes you up. It gives you energy. But I pat my whole body, sure, because no one else is. But anyway, I do it for my health benefits on that one, not the excitement. But Gail said something,
Why not both?
Gail said that she was in a meeting yesterday and was called a manipulator and a few other things. I listened, felt the stabs, and did some reflection. This was his perception based on his experience and was no way my intention. So I grabbed some gifts around vulnerability and listening. His experience is real, but does not mean I own any of it. Now, Gail, when you say his experience is real, this is my inquisitiveness. Are you saying you know this man, so he's known you to be a manipulator, and a few other things? Because you're saying his experience is real, but you're not going to own it. Like, so help me understand that before I go crazy, because I think we're giving too many people the right to express how they feel, but then if you do it, you're wrong.
She didn't know him, she
And,
said. She didn't know
huh?
him. She said she didn't know him.
So how is this experience about you real? Like I don't. I would like to understand that.
He took my words
See,
and
Margie
interpreted
taught me to stretch and slap my body to wake up. We did it in Spain.
he said he took my words and interpreted how he wants. It's real for him, not for me, she's saying. Like he what she said, he took it and interpreted the way he did and interpreted it as a manipulating situation. And she said that was not that was real for him, not for her.
Oh. See, that's why I'm a little scared to keep going to these in-person things, because I'll be like, that's your
We're
issue.
online. Listen, in person is actually better than online. Online, there's a lot of misinterpretation. It's easier to misinterpret online. But to be honest with you, there's also a lot of shady people online. I have found
Well,
that
yeah, these are the people.
because you're not
It's
able
not,
to see in person. You're able to
Mhm.
see their whole body. You could read their body
Yeah.
language. You could read their facial expressions as they're talking to you. See, when you're talking online, you can't, if there's like 30 people in the room, you can't look at every single person's expression as you're speaking.
Yeah.
And
Well,
so,
I never did that online shit. I never liked it, but I understand what you're saying. It's not worth your energy. It wouldn't have been worth my energy to check his ass, because you don't know me, I don't know you, I don't give a fuck. But I'm it's not gonna railroad me. Did I what part? I guess to really say, okay, what did I do that led this man? But half the time, 90% of the time, in my opinion, people just want to perceive you for how they are, their insecurities, their lack of. So then they see this woman who carries herself with confidence and speaks her mind or shares her views on her past experience or what she's living now, and they want to call you names because she's a fake, she's trying to do this or that. So I always I always hand it right back to them. That's your issue, not mine. But yeah.
but this is the whole point. When you are breathing in your 2B.
So hold on. If you believe he wasn't mean, that he just dropped his opinions, why did you have to reevaluate your? Didn't you say that you had to
No,
give some vulnerability?
she's just saying that she took it as a reflection. Like for us to say when somebody's accusing us of something, for us to look at that and go, no, you're wrong. It Unless they're really wrong, like if like who you are, like really, and you really did not have an intention. But sometimes it's still good to take that step back and just take in what they said. Did they have merit? Did I come across that way? Is that how I intended to be? And if you intended to be all that and that's what you meant, then you're fine. But if you didn't, because sometimes people could bring you into a direction by accident with a conversation. So self-reflection is good. She's not saying that he was right. She's
No,
just
but I have a question for you now. So
uh-huh.
what you're saying is that when that happens, if a person chooses not to question themselves because they are certain of who they are and know that they said nothing to what the accusation is, are you saying that unless you sit back like you said you would do And I wouldn't do that, especially if I know where I'm coming from. I'm not gonna give my energy and lose brain cells to say, is this person right, when I know they're not? So does that make me a conceited person, an unbendable person? Because you said most of the people would stop and evaluate. Did I come from that?
No, that's not, most people would do that. Most people don't do that.
Okay, because I wouldn't. Because if I know where I'm coming from and I'm speaking facts and somebody's going to say that, I'm not going to
that's different.
For pearls of wisdom.
That's different. But I always look at it that we can always, like, self-reflection is a big thing. And, again, perception is a big thing. If we perceive ourselves to be a certain way, but if this kept coming up, and you were being told, like other people, that, and it was the same conversation. And even though you were steadfast and go, no, I'm right. I'm looking, and this is me. This is why we're different. I would look at it and say, okay, let me just reevaluate myself just for a moment. And if this keeps coming up, is this what I'm presenting? And if I'm still steadfast on it and say, no, I am presenting myself exactly as I want to be. This is what I'm saying. These are individuals that nobody's ever going to agree with everything. That is why we stay in the circles that we do. You want to be, when you're with a person who's very negative, I'm a very positive person. If I'm with a person who's very negative, they will never agree with anything that I say. And I'm not going to sit there and reflect and go, well, maybe they were right. I'm just going to be like, okay, agree to disagree. You're not resonating in the way that like in the same realm that I am. I'm not better. I'm not worse, but we need to be in different circles.
But that's what I'm saying. Even with somebody you don't know, that this person, I don't think he said it more than he just said it. And I'm not saying anything about Gail. I'm just saying that's a good thing to talk about. What's going on in society today, all this sensitivity, bullshit. I can say whatever I want, but if you don't agree with me, then you're this and you're that, and you have to, and all this force. I'm saying I am unique. And yeah, we all, to our last breath, will have to work on being a better person. But I'm not gonna, it's not okay for someone, and that's what we're saying today. It's okay for this man who doesn't know Gail from shit to call her all these names. But then since he did, because it's his perception as it's going around, there is an excuse that he can say that because it's his perception. So now I'm going to be Gail. So now I have to sit there and say, well, and think, is it true? I don't know you from nowhere, but when I'm speaking on a subject, it's because I lived it. I've experienced it. I know it. And I'm going to share. And it might sound like I'm being conceited to some, or manipulative to other, or very strong-minded to some, or just like, wow, she's speaking what I can only think. So yeah, there's a gambit of people that are going to be around forming their own opinions, whether they're in hater mode, insecure mode, bitchy mode. And I am not the one to sit there, because I am not Captain Save-A-Hole, to correct them or to say, I'm going to have to blend into pieces of these people because of perception. Nope. I will look. And if someone says, Margie, you're being rude, sometimes I was like, am I? And I will say, oh, that did come out.
Right. Good. That's what I'm talking about.
That's what no. If somebody tells me you were rude, and I know this person and they know me and they know that I was being rude, but if I don't know you, how dare you impose your, and if you're going to do it, but don't expect me to analyze myself because so-and-so said this. What I'm saying, like you said, sometimes we have to take a step back and look at ourselves and be, and that's fine, because that is your opinion. I'm saying from where I come from, I'm not, because I worked hard to be who I am today through blood, sweat, and tears. And I've learned, and I've fallen, and I've lost people, and I've gained people. And I am content with who I am. When I speak because I know. And if I don't know, when I speak, I ask or I suggest. But I know who the fuck I am at all times. So I won't take it as a compliment or as a reflection. Let me sit down and rethink my life because so-and-so who I don't know that I met here thinks I'm being this. But it's all good, because then Gail said that she reevaluated it and came out to be a stronger person. And this is something that I'm passionate about. So anybody who don't know this, the badass Buddha knows that when I'm passionate about a subject, I sound like I'm arguing and I'm yelling, but I'm not. The thing is that we have become such a sensitive society right now. It's disgusting and it's bothersome how you have to shut up and take what everybody else is trying to make you chew when I won't even swallow. I'm thinking about what's going on in the schools, what's being permitted, and then if the parents take it to the board, they're being taken out by security because the parent is reading to the board the garbage that they're allowing our kids to read during school year, but they cannot use that language in front of the board because it's disgusting. How dare you say that? But it's okay for my child to read. So all of that fits in what's happening today and what's acceptable in society. And you know what? I am who I am. And if we don't stand firm in who we are and believe in who we are, but bend with the wind, then who the fuck are we? And how dare we say we're, what's that word that people use falsely? Authentic or walking in their truth. So I think, like Gail said, she evaluated how she felt and came out feeling sure of who you are. Exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying in a passionate, angry tone. But sometimes we're like, look at this.
I said too.
Look at this. No, I'm not beating you up about it. But what I'm saying is, she said that she evaluated. I'm not going to evaluate myself every time somebody says something. I go on energy. And if I feel your energy is that of an envious one, of an insecure one, then you know what? Thank you. Y eso me lo paso por el culo. And I keep going. Go ahead, Buddha.
I got nothing. I'm done. We are.
Too many people are like, oh, I sat because
we're at the end. We're at the end. That would. I think you've said it all. I think that was very powerful and necessary. So, and it really it is. It's breathing in the to be and breathing out the now. That was a now. That is coming to terms with what was right in front and saying, what am I going to do about this? Am I going to do nothing? What am I going to take from that? And that's the beauty of it. You know, that is knowing self. You know, if Gail didn't know herself, she would have left that conversation going, oh my God, like, why does he think that? And blah, blah, blah. And am I really like that? And oh my goodness, instead of sitting and going, why did he say that? Like, what was up with that? And then coming to terms with it and saying, yeah, he had no right to, because I think she actually wrote that. I was shocked at first because I don't know him. And then she said, bottom line, he manipulated the conversation. I was reflecting. I was reflecting. And that's the beauty. That's knowing self. How many of you out there would have been taking something like that and let it sit there for days? Why was that person upset with me? Why would they have said that I was not manipulative?
If you are like that, please change that. No, I'm sorry, Gail. I did went off. You know, when I love someone, when I care for someone, I'm very protective. So that pissed me off when you said he did that. And you said I listened, felt the stabs, and did some reflection that this was his perception based on his experience. But anyway, but it's real to him. And you're so graceful that you gave him that. And Madeline, thank you. It is my Puerto Rican voice. And
yeah, even Milagros is saying.
Yeah, because she agrees with me. Like, I'm not gonna, like, that's your opinion. That's your issue. That's your reasoning. Fuck off. Because I'm not gonna allow that to penetrate me. And you know what? I'll probably think about it, but I ain't gonna sit with it and be like, oh, let me see, maybe he was right. I don't know you. So how dare you even accuse me of such a thing? That's like the Salem witch hunts. Someone said you're a witch and you were hung and burned. No, we're not doing that. But I'm glad that you felt it through, because some people need to work in that way to sort it out. And I'm not disagreeing with anybody. I'm just telling you my point of view. And many people disagree with me because it's far-fetched, but I'm always far-fetched. And I just can't. I watched it in my mother. I would never be that. So
I watched it in myself, and I would never be that.
I never did. And I never did. I have been that black sheep. all my life because I spoke my truth. And if I'm learning something and you're going to come and insult me, then you know what? Then you don't need to be in my circle because I'm
That's right.
working on it and you're still insulting me. So when I do complete, you're still going to put me down. So
That
I don't need
is
you.
absolutely right.
There's
That
no,
is
well,
absolutely
that's
right.
how they were feeling. And I got to understand and respect their feeling. You're not respecting me by insulting me. And
Exactly.
I'm supposed to respect that you're dealing with some fuck off. That's my favorite word of the day today. No, I'm
Oh my
angry.
God. Madeline says she's been the black and blue sheep. Hmm. I
Hey.
feel you. I've been there.
Thank you, Gail. I love you too.
Well, this was really cool. This went into, I mean, the bottom line is you have to know yourself. You have to be in your now. You have to be very clear on who you are so that you can handle that shit. So that you can handle when things like that come apart about, and you handle it in your own way. But tough. None of that people pleasing. Oh, but what if maybe they were right and I want to talk to them more. It'll kill you. It'll eat away at your soul. It'll eat away at your spirit if you do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we're at an age now where we can say, we're done with that. That doesn't serve us at all. It cannot allow us to be who we're meant to be, worrying about what everybody else is going to say and what their opinion of you is. It's just that expression. Other people's opinion of you are none of your business. Like
Yeah.
the only thing that we were both saying in different ways is that take in information and like listen, but then still it's your decision. And she doesn't have to be around those people anymore, and she wouldn't be. There's no
No.
point in being around somebody like that, because that
You,
per and that guy's probably a miserable dude anyway, and he's probably
and
in his
that's
own.
why I wouldn't waste my energy reflecting on what somebody I don't know, he probably was scratching his ass with one hand and typing it with the other, is going to say about me. And I'm going to stop, I don't care,
Visual.
precious 10 minutes of my day to say, am I? Was I? No. Look at Chanel. People at work sort of label me crazy, and I embrace it and say, do you really want to see me crazy? Because you have it. When people say, I have had many people still to this day, even on the Camino, who said they were intimidated to speak to me. And I'm like, why? I'm always smiling, because if they see the other part, like I will spiral. So you won't even see me transform into my armor. That's how quick I spiral when I'm rageful. So I hear you, Prima. I'd be like, girl, they only seen the nice part of me. What's intimidating? Why? Because people feel energy, and I protect my energy at all points. And if you don't like me, fine. I'll respect you, even though we won't speak if you say it. But if you're a sneaky little bitch and pretend to like me while trying to be me behind my back, then that is disloyalty, right? So I respect the person who's upfront and honest. So let's all live today in awe of ourselves, in awe. Be in awe of yourselves today. Breathe and be in awe because you woke up, you share, everybody shared, which is fucking awesome. And you're aware that you are rare. And in your rarity, grab the day by the horns and make it perfectly suitable for you.
Woo! Okay.
Milagros, I love that Milagros has been talking Desiree. You know what? I love all of you. Have a great day.
Milagros loves when you get worked up like that. I think
Yeah,
that
she does.
triggers her in a positive way. So listen, we'll be back on Tuesday, and the title for that show is Caterpillar or Slug. What you have to decide what you're going to be. Get into all how that means or what that means, and we'll see you then. So have a beautiful weekend. Make the most of it. Do something fun and exciting. From the Badass Buddha, remember, be you, be real, and be extraordinary.
Yes, mi gente, Cherneil said that's why they call her the real deal. Girl, the badass Buddha fell in love with your name when you first started coming on the show.
Oh
Cherneil,
yeah,
real deal.
I
So
love it.
yeah, it does make an impact. And Marina, I don't know if she was in. Listen, mi gente, have a great day. And remember, breathe in your beauty and breathe out their bullshit. Namaste.